Not so much computery, but I'm sure we'll get explained to why this is.
It's definitely retro.
This is here. It's certainly retro. Here we are with Mitch Johns from Hack Modular. Talk us through your display.
Well, this is a recreation of the Aramix machine, which was come up with by Daphne Oram, who was one of the co-founders of the Radiophonic Workshop, and she had an idea where she wanted to draw sound, so literally paint on a glass plane and listen to the shape of the sound. It's amazing.
Incredible.
So this hasn't really been seen since the 60s. The machine never became a commercial product. It was always just a prototype, and kind of got abandoned. I think it ended up in a workshop, a dusty corner of a workshop in France, and eventually wound its way back, and now it's on display in the Science Museum.
Oh, lovely.
But it was this guy, Graham Wrench, here, who came up with the actual electronics and made it a reality. And I'll give you a demonstration of it first, and then we can talk about the history of it.
Sure.
But basically, it's pretty immediate and simple. You just put an object in front of the screen, it scans the shape of it, and then whatever shape that is on the screen, that is what you're listening to through the speaker as an amplitude. So you can create all kinds of different waveforms, wave shapes, just by waving your hand in front of it, or put another object on it. Here we go.
Let's do it with a fudge brownie.
This is what a fudge brownie sounds like. It sounds delicious, doesn't it?
It does sound delicious. So what have we got? Are these diodes under here?
Yeah, so this is a photo transistor array under here. In the original one, they used photo multiplier tubes, like vacuum tubes.
Yeah.
I've kind of done a more modern-y, lower voltage version,
Yeah.
so people can stick their hands in it. And surprisingly, it's working pretty good in all the ambient light, because the
goodness
original,
me, it's fantastic.
the
It's
original
absolutely
unit was this. This is how it looked originally, the wave scanning unit. These yellow bits here are the CRTs, which I've replaced with just a standard oscilloscope turned on its end.
Uh-huh.
And the photo multiplier tubes are up here. You could close the door so that all the light was completely isolated in there, and you could get the best results. And here's the glass panes that Daphne painted onto. They slide in on top of the CRT, get scanned and turned into music.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. Where it's all shut away, being out like this is actually working incredibly well. Well, until I put my hands on it.
Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it?
That's amazing.
It was actually developed out of radar technology. So Graham Wrench, the engineer, used to work as a radar technician installing radar stuff. And what they used to do with it is superimpose coastlines on the radar screen, so they could see planes flying in and know where they are on the coastline. This is what the technology was originally used for, this technique. Yeah. And I won't go too deep into how it exactly works because it gets into the weeds, but it's basically a feedback loop with an inverting amplifier. So when you see the light, it goes into the screen and tells the line on the screen to go down, and when it can't see the light, it tells the line on the screen to go up.
Yeah.
And so it does it really, really, really fast. So around the edge of your finger, it's just zigzagging, so fast that you can't even really see it.
I think
It
if
just
you put
looks
one
like a
finger
line.
on there, we can probably see it a bit better if we go from above.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, we can see it. That's good. That's good.
So that's not a solid line. That is a series of hundreds of zigzags, but they're too fast for you to actually hear.
Yeah.
It's above the human hearing range, so it kind of just filters out and becomes the waveform. Yeah. I think that's pretty much covered it. But it's basically this is before you had DAWs, before you had things like Cubase, and before you had MIDI controllers, everything. This is really the forerunner of all kind of music controllers, really.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's pretty
absolutely
amazing.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So are these kits available? Have you made these available to buy on Tindy?
Eventually, once I do a couple more tweaks, make it exactly right. Yeah, I'll be making this as a PCB, and you can bolt it onto your own oscilloscope and make some
Like some
music.
funky waves.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you sell these though? Because you do make
I do make other
modules for synths and
That's
stuff,
it.
don't you?
Other synth modules. There's a few of my ones in here: voltage controlled oscillator, bandpass filter, and VCA, voltage controlled amplifier. I make all sorts of different stuff as well, and you can check it out on the Hacked Indie store. Thank you very much. Everyone's exhibits are absolutely incredible. I definitely recommend coming down next year if you missed it this time.
Here with this Quantel is Mark from Dexter's Lab.
Hey everyone.
Big wave, Mark. Thumbs up.
So here we are with a Quantel paint box. This one dates from the mid-90s, around 94, 95.
Okay.
And we've got Matt here doing some
Matt.
animations and things like that on it. We also have the Quantel camcorder, which gives us 12 seconds of video to do animations.
Oh, fantastic. So is this all you now? What's happening on here?
So all afternoon Matt has been creating this animation that he's been doing for us, doing trying to emulate a 3D kind of effect, but of course Paintbox isn't 3D, it's only 2D, but when you have a talented artist, we can make it look like it's 3D.
So what were these predominantly used for, this actual model of the Quantel?
So these two machines together was the Quantel Harriet.
Okay.
These were used to create very short little animation clips that were used in various TV programs where you just need a very short animation.
Yes,
Because you've only got 12 seconds of storage.
I was thinking about this the other day. When you watch TV even now, you don't realise how short that little clip is.
Yeah,
and how much you can squeeze into, like how much information you can squeeze into just that tiny 10 or 12 seconds.
Yeah. It just needs to be a little bumper, a bit of something that gets from one thing to another.
Yeah,
and it's just a little thing in between. And that's what these were often used for.
It's an incredible machine. Though. So how much would these have cost the TV centres?
The Quantel paint box would have been around about £70,000 to £80,000 back in the day. Camcorder, we don't really know how much they cost. Probably 40 or 50,000.
Goodness.
The bigger machines were obviously even more expensive. Because the Quantel paint box is the lowest model in all of the machines that Quantel made. Above the paint box, you have the Quantel HAL, then you have the edit box and the Henry.
What sort of prices is the highest?
The Quantel Henry would set you back about £500,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, serious bit of kit.
So would they have had multiples of these though?
Sometimes you'd only find multiple Quantel Henrys in a big post-production house.
Got you. Yeah.
So the TV companies wouldn't have really had them. They would have had a HAL and maybe one edit box.
So they must be exceptionally rare then.
They are incredibly rare machines. Yeah.
Wow. It's just great to see someone who knows you can just sit back and get on with it.
Matt is very talented. Matt started his TV career on these machines, so he's gained many years of skills.
That does look fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what we might do is we might come back in a bit for an update and just see what the final product is.
Yeah, he's going to do another render.
Whose is this table? It's Tony
mine.
Dragon at Here Be Jewell.
Very good.
Tony Jewell at Here Be Dragons.
Here Be Dragons, that's
There
me.
we are.
Okay,
What have you bought for us, Tony?
what have I bought? Everything here is French. It's all French computers. Now, the wondrous thing about French computers is that it's almost like this separate world of machines that were developed in the 1980s, none of which were exported outside of France. So these machines are a kind of unique parallel world of 80s micros.
Oh, wow. Okay. So where should we start?
Well, let's start with the Thompsons. The Thompson are... So all these machines here, and these on the floor.
Scoot back a little bit here. Yep.
They're all made by Thomson. They're all 6809 based. And Thomson were like the Acorn, the BBC Micro of French computers. So they were expensive. but schools could buy them cheaply, so they were in French schools.
Okay.
So, quick guide around the Thompsons. It starts with this machine down here with its appalling Atari 400 style keyboard. Then we move up to this one, which has a proper keyboard and a light pen, which allows you to do
Ooh la la.
ooh la la, très bien. Allows you to draw things like
I
that.
think we can just see that beyond the flicker. I don't know what face that's pulling, but it's obviously looking at you. So, can we just look in this one? Because
Yeah.
you've got the light pen out in that.
Yeah.
In this one, if we just look under the flap here, so we can see how it's actually internal and it's attached directly to the machine, which is quite a nice feature through that. You can see there, just coming out of there.
Isn't it cool?
Happy days. Right, anyway, sorry.
Anyway,
Back
so
to you.
So yeah, this is like I say, the French BBC Micro. Thomson, though, weren't going to rest on their laurels. They developed lots of machines. So there's a cut price one down there with a Michel Platini logo on it. There's one here with a built-in tape drive. Then Thomson thought, well, they needed to make one that looked a bit like a PC, so that's the TO9 here.
Yep.
Then they decided they needed to make one that looked a bit like an Atari or an Amiga, so that's the TO8D here. And the TO8D is a good machine. If I get liftoff running on it, this is a respectable.
Oh, goodness me, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
The problem is with this machine, it's 1986. Nobody wanted an 8-bit machine, no matter how good the graphics was. People wanted Ataris, people wanted Amigas. So it's an interesting machine. There is one good game, you're looking at it, and that's pretty much it. Other machines, let's go all the way over the Alice, because that's such a pretty thing.
Look at this.
So this is the Alice 90, which is running Croquet, which is a slightly naff version of Pac-Man.
Okay.
So this is a real style over substance machine. So it originally started off live as this thing here, the Alice,
Yep.
in its beautiful box.
Look at this. Lovely.
And I've actually got a little Alice I can show off here in its wonderful funky red carrying case with its printer.
Stunning.
Isn't it?
Stunning.
So this machine, they thought, they could improve it, but in fact, all it needed to do to sell more was to sit in a funkier case.
Which is fair enough, I'd buy it.
Yeah, hence the Alice 90. Oh, you would buy it because no one else did.
So this is 4 megahertz, you say?
It might be. It might also be an incorrect information sheet. I feel I need to go and check that because that would surprise me. Oh, what else have we got here? Don't ask me about the Goopal 2 because I don't really know anything about it.
We just move these signs just so we can
Yeah.
get a better look, because I think there might be people out there. Well, there's certainly been people turning up today that have never heard of the machine before, let alone seen one.
Yeah, it's new to me. It needs repairing. It's again 6803 based.
And it's quite a bit. I mean, we can see on the top there from the side, you've got a Dragon 32, and that's almost the whole of the top.
Yeah.
Plus the keyboard.
I don't know whether this was a home machine or a business machine. It looked like it could be an industrial machine. It's a task for the long winter evenings is to find out more about the Goopal and get it working.
Well, I'll tell you what, anyone who knows anything, if anyone has got any information out there, or even software for it,
Oh yeah,
you
please,
can get in
please
touch
let
with,
us know.
let us know in the comments.
EB Dragons,
or
yeah.
EB Dragons on the Twitter,
On the Twitter.
and that'd be great. So, why is there a Dragon 32 here, Tony?
Why is there a Dragon 32? Let me get it going. So obviously a Dragon 32 is not Welsh. It's stop it. Okay. It's not French, it's Welsh. So why is it here? Because Dragon wanted to sell the Dragon. Dragon Data wanted to sell the Dragon in France. So what they did is they completely redesigned the motherboard so that it could support CCAM, which is the French video signal, so it could support SCART and Peritel,
Okay, yeah.
everything you need for the French market. What they didn't do, though, was change the keyboard. So if you notice, all French machines are not QWERTY, but AZERTY.
There we go, you can see on the Alice here.
Yeah.
If we go up here, QWERTY still.
Yeah. And so the Dragon is QWERTY, and it doesn't have accents, so the French went, no. and that was it. Yeah. So Dragons wasted a lot of money building a new motherboard, but then didn't Frenchify the machine, and it was not a success in France.
So it's a Dragon with a completely redesigned
Motherboard. Yeah.
That's incredible. So went through all that effort.
Yeah, and then didn't change the keyboard. So well done.
Schoolboy error.
Yes, yeah. Shot themselves in the foot there.
Oh, this is good. The tennis gun.
So this is the XL Vision. So this is a bunch of French Texas Instruments engineers who thought they could improve on the TI-994A, which frankly isn't that difficult. And
Steady on.
So this has got a 16-bit TI processor in it. It's got a TI graphics chip. It's got a speed synthesizer. It's quite a nice machine. It was just too expensive and too late. So it barely sold in France. Certainly hasn't been seen outside of France.
IR the standard.
Absolutely, infrared joysticks. So you have to point them at the machine. It's a little bit fussy, but I mean, the game isn't playing at the moment, but they are super little joysticks.
So the keyboard's infrared as well.
The keyboard is infrared, yeah, there's no cable on that.
Very nice.
And although I can't quite show you, the joysticks slot away nicely inside the machine. It's very satisfying.
They're beautifully styled French
They are.
machines.
They're all quite unique, I think, the French machines.
Yeah. Even the Platini one, I mean, it's named after a footballer. Or who went on
think
to be
to
the head of
encourage-
FIFA.
Yeah. To encourage sporty boys that they could also play with computers.
Yeah. Did it work?
Nah. What have I missed?
What is the VG?
The VG500 is just an example of quirky French design again. What I love about this one is the keyboard. So you've got the numbers up here and the shifted functions. Then you've got another strange row of characters. You've got a control key here. You've got 3, count them, shift keys.
Shift.
Shift and shift harder. You've got a number pad with no numbers. And you've got this button, and we don't know what this does. So, yeah, just quirky and French. Very French.
If you press that and shift, does it shift?
Shifts harder.
Shift harder.
Shift harder. Yes.
Fantastic. Oh, and
And
what
Hector.
about the,
Hector up at the top here. So this was an American computer originally. This is it was the Interact home computer,
Oh, that looks nice.
which didn't sell in America. And the company I think went bankrupt. But a French company, Micronique, bought the rights to it, Frenchified it. Unlike Dragon, they made the effort. So it's an AZERTY keyboard.
Oh, can we let's just check that because once bitten.
Yes. It's an okay machine. It's a Z80 base. It's kind of got chunky, colourful graphics. So I can get it running.
Styling again. It's just
It's a lovely looking thing. It is so unique. It's like the Citron of computers. It's quite different, and it's okay. But you're looking at a 1984 computer at this point, and at this point it's starting to look a bit. It's a bit long in the tooth. But yeah, a nice machine, and definitely, like all my French machines, a quirky device.
Lovely stuff. That's a lovely display. And for people that don't know, Tony is the man that basically organises, gets everyone together, and sorts everyone out for this.
It's such fun. It is such
and
fun.
as much as it can be like herding cattle, that I've only got one leg, and he does do a fantastic job, and we really do appreciate it. So
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
So here we are with Tom Stapleton, and some of the loveliest machines I've seen all weekend. So talk to us about these bad boys.
Right. Well, these are all Tektronix vector graphics machines from the mid-1970s. This is a terminal. It's being driven by this RC 2014 kit computer and sending these lovely vector graphics all day long. And then these machines here next to it, these are computers. They're microcomputers. They have 6,800 processors inside. And they're an evolution of the terminals that Tektronix was making. So, Tektronix is most well known as an electronics test equipment manufacturer. So they make things like oscilloscopes and so forth. And in the 1960s, I think, they wanted to make oscilloscopes that could capture a single signal trace rather than, as most oscilloscopes require, the same signal to be repeated over and over. In order to do that, you need some way of storing the signal, and the way they came up with, because they couldn't use memory or like delay lines or something like that at the time, they chose to store the signal on the screen. They made a special screen technology that would accomplish this. The nature of this technology is, sort of as I've said, anything that's written to it stays there, like an Etch-a-Sketch. But also, much like an Etch-a-Sketch, you can only erase the entire screen all at once. You can't clear bits. So this will make. They wound up adapting that technology to computer displays, and for the time they made extremely high-resolution, high-quality computer displays. Their advantage was they didn't need memory because the screen itself was the memory.
I mean, this is gathering pace now, and you can do, I like it at the side because you can almost see the beam being drawn as you're watching it.
Yeah.
That's incredibly detailed as well.
Really, for 1975, you would be hard-pressed to find something that would deliver that detail at a reasonable price. And so as long as you didn't mind, not being able to update only portions of the screen, then it was a great choice for you.
Yeah. In fact, we've just seen it refresh and start another minor demo. I mean, this is just lovely.
Yeah, I can force it to refresh, and boom, you can see the whole display clears, and that's all you get. You can only clear the entire display. You can only write lines or clear everything. But yeah, it was probably your best option for getting graphics of this resolution. I think it saw applications in CAD and various scientific settings where you wanted to plot graphs and so forth. These actually computers in this line were used in Battlestar Galactica to render displays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the reason for that is they don't flicker. The image stays on there. It doesn't have to be refreshed like a CRT does. And yeah, I can go into details about how it works. It's very geeky, but pretty fascinating.
Oh, definitely, Sire. It's the perfect thing to bring here. And again, just for scale, I've been using my hand for scale a lot today. So my hand's touching it now. You can see how huge these things are.
And these aren't even the largest. The very largest ones the Tech made were 19-inch displays. They were about this tall,
really?
And this wide, maybe that deep, and they weighed 64 kilos or so, I think. So
incredible. But no, that's brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much, Tom.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for bringing these along. They've really been a highlight of my weekend, that's for sure.
Oh, well, that's very kind.
That's brilliant. See you soon, mate. Thank you ever so much. Cheers. This is just incredible. And the creator of it is Dolo. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Great stuff. Yeah, not bad for seeing this, but it does give me a headache. Do you want to talk me through this?
Yeah, sure. So this started off a few years ago. I was looking at building my own computer. I never thought it was going to be possible, but I was inspired by stories from back in the day, like Steve Wozniak, and all about the homebrew computer club that they had back in California. And I always thought it was beyond me. But when I started seeing other people with their homebrew projects, I thought I could do something. But what I wanted to do was something a little bit more extensive than the usual homebrew, which is, a CPU, some RAM, and a bit of serial I/O. I was like, I want to build what could be a fully fledged home computer from back in the day. So kind of a bit of a nod to the computers that we would have played around with in the early to mid 80s. So that was my project. So I decided I want to use parts that are more or less available from the mid 80s, early 80s to make it kind of authentic. And then I want to build the entire thing from breadboard, all from scratch.
As you do.
As you do. It's meant to be it's just a fun project and a kind of learning journey for me. So I really grit my teeth over building everything from scratch. And then the actual thing that takes longest is the software stack. So building all the software to run this thing and actually do something sensible probably took several times longer than the hardware.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, what this machine is it looks like a BBC on the outside, but essentially I'm just using the keyboard and the case. It happens to be that the BBC case fits big enough to fit my breadboards. But basically, I've got my 6502, and I could probably move this without breaking the machine. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So I'll just use this yellow thing here to show. There's a 6502 just here running at 5 megahertz. It's actually more than twice the speed of a BBC, so it's actually would be a very fast machine for the day.
Yeah.
And then I've got 128k of RAM and 64k of ROM. So I'm using a technique called memory banking. For folks who don't know, it allows you to access more than 64k because back in the 8-bit days, the machines could only take 16 bits of address line. So I've got the ability to bank ROM and RAM in to get extra memory. Okay. And then here I've got a video chip, which is what you see on the screen here is generated by the video chip. And that's from the MSX range of computers. It was actually a Texas Instruments video chip.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And so this is using all the same kind of MSX graphics that you might be able to see on an MSX machine. And then the sound card, or the sound chip rather, is again the same one that you might find in an MSX. So it's in a way, the hardware is similar to an MSX, but with a 6502 rather than a Z80 processor. So that's been my project over several years. And as you know, sometimes it's a bit flaky, but kind of works. Kind of works, even though it looks mad. And there's a huge amount of noise and everything else that it's probably generating as well as being susceptible to.
So Dolo's been bringing this here for a
couple of years now.
3 years?
Third year now. Yeah.
And every time it's just powered up and works almost fine. There's been the odd bit of panic,
bit of glitching, yeah.
It's only something simple, transit issues or something like that.
Yeah,
but
or just literally not having the right power input. We were running at 7.5 volts yesterday. It's supposed to be 9 volts. We didn't even check that until right at the end. But 9 volts. Thing works, and of course the very famous, as we know, Pete, the very famous heat sink there, which is some kitchen unit brackets. That's what we use to dissipate the heat generated going from 9 down to 5 volts. And of course we're going to keep that, and it's reefer free as the sticker shows. But
he's got no drawer in his kitchen now.
No, that's right. My wife's still waiting. My wife's still waiting for me to give the brackets back so we can open the drawers without the front falling off.
She can wait a bit longer, I'm sure. But I do also like the fact that true to form as well, being that it's made in a BBC case with the keyboard and everything, it's still a BBC being the breadboard computer.
Exactly.
I do love that. Okay, so moving on. I mean, this is another passion of yours, isn't it, the Auric?
It is. So the Auric basically had 2 versions. The first version that came out was the Auric 1 in 1982. And then in 83 they released the Auric Atmos. The Atmos is much more stunning to look at, but this is my favourite because this is the actual computer that my dad bought me in 1983 for £80 from Dixon's in Birmingham.
Wow.
And it's what got me into technology. I learned to program on this very machine, and I kept it all these years. It survived house moves, it survived marriages. It's stayed with me for 40 years, and it's never let me down. It's like a family heirloom now to me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And literally, this is the reason why I'm in technology. It got me into programming.
It's funny though, isn't it? Where you think this eventually led to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what an incredible achievement in the same time.
It feels surreal when I think about it, It's just like the
imagine.
40-year journey from not even knowing how BASIC works to basically creating a machine and building my own BASIC for this machine from scratch.
Unbelievable.
These are the crazy things we do when we've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
too much time on our hands. But it's part of the journey.
But this I always thought was one of the best upgrades. I mean, I realise for
Beautiful.
sentimental reasons this is your favourite.
It's gorgeous though, isn't it?
But the actual upgrade itself, I mean, they identified the things that were missing. A better keyboard. I was going to say a decent keyboard, but that's actually not awful.
It's not terrible, but this is lovely. The feel of this key, it's very close to the legendary feel of the BBC keyboard, I would say. It's pretty colours.
And just
and then
just
the
the
colour
look of it
scheme, I
is
mean,
just
look at that.
form factor is
Yeah. I mean, when you look underneath, you can actually see that it's basically an Auric, exactly the same as an Auric 1. It looks exactly the same. Yeah. And
There we
you
go.
can see
Yeah.
basically the same, but it's red rather than grey, and just the red and the black combo, just stunning, right? It's
Great,
just
isn't it?
brilliant.
It's a bit like I was saying to Tony Jewell on the table over there. The French and their styling is just so fantastic. You can see it because he's got so much of it over there.
Absolutely, they've got the French know how to make something look beautiful. And this being a UK computer, but he did very well in France, of course. So whilst most people won't have come across an Auric in the UK, in France, this was the best-selling machine in 1983. So there's still a big following of Auric fans in France, and I'm still in touch with a few of them, and and we exchange like stuff that we built. Well, we exchange programs.
Oh wow!
So we built programs, and I've had people building stuff for my Auric using the language that I've created, and I've also contributed. So there's still a vibrant Auric group going on in Europe. So mostly they're French, but we won't hold that against them.
No, you can't.
They're lovely folks, actually.
Yes.
But so this is a full-on like perfect upgrade. If this had come out in 1982 rather than this, and if the kind of software that it was probably about the power of a ZX Spectrum. I think it was a Spectrum equivalent. So it was meant to be a competitor to the Spectrum. And the graphics are about as good, I would say. But the sound is out of this world compared to a Spectrum. You had full 3-channel sound chip. That could go quite loud rather than the 1-channel beeper that was controlled. So really, if you just had the right software, and it just proves that Spectrum was a great machine, but Spectrum had the software library and it had the timing. It was released in '82, just when everybody was so interested in computers.
And that price point, of course, as well.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing, was it accessible. So this was designed to compete against the Spectrum, but Spectrum already had the user base and the software library by the time these things came out. Very hard to compete. So that's the. But still, if they had had that software support, I think it could have been a really good competitor to the Spectrum.
Oh, certainly, I don't disagree with that at all.
For me, it's still the perfect starting point for me. It's got a decent basic built into it, and as I said, it got me into programming and
made you the man you are today.
Created a career for me. Absolutely.
There's a lot of people like that. There's 4 or 5 that actually bought the same as you. One their parent or father, dad, mother, whoever it was, bought them for Christmas. Years ago, and they've still got the same machine.
I know, it's surreal. It's great to see. It's great to see.
We're bringing stuff down. Thanks ever so much, and hopefully we'll see you for the 5th year.
I hope so, mate. See you soon, Pete.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so we're back with Dexter's Tech Lab and his Quantel stuff, and we've got Matthias here.
And we're done with the animation, so I can play it for you. So
let's see the final product here. This will be lovely.
Some lines, logo, light sweep, and some text on it. 5 seconds of animation.
That's really good. Considering you just did this today, didn't you?
Yeah.
I know you've worked all day on it, but that's a lovely.
I did the logo yesterday, and today I did all the animation.
Beautiful. There we go. Just to catch up with that. That's brilliant stuff. Thanks ever so much, and
bye bye.
see you in the next event. Thank you, mate.